I found my wife's secret Instagram. She called me the ATM. Our marriage was her retirement plan. 5 years of posts. Posted to r/true off my chest. I don't even know where to begin. My hands are shaking as I type this. 3 days ago, I thought I had the perfect marriage. Today, I'm sitting in my home office at 2 a.m., staring at screenshots that have dismantled everything I believed about my life. I need to write this out because I can't tell anyone yet. Not my family, not my friends. Not until I figure out what I'm going to do. So I'm telling strangers on the internet instead, because apparently that's my life now. Background: the perfect marriage. I'm 31 years old. I've been with my wife for 5 years, 3 years of dating, 2 years of marriage. By every metric I knew, we were happy. Genuinely, disgustingly, annoyingly happy. The kind of couple that made our single friends roll their eyes. We met at a friend's barbecue. She was funny, warm, and seemed genuinely interested in me, not in a performative way, but in the way where she asked follow-up questions. She remembered things. When I mentioned I was into gaming, she didn't make that face that some women make. Instead, she asked what games, and actually listened to my answers. By our third date, she was watching me play and asking questions about the story. She got along with my family immediately. My mom adored her. My sister said she was finally someone good enough for me. She laughed at my dad's terrible jokes. She helped my mom cook at holidays without being asked. She fit into my life like she was designed for it. Our relationship was easy. We rarely fought. When we disagreed, she was calm and reasonable. She supported my career, encouraged me when I was stressed, and never made me feel bad about working late or needing space. She had her own friends, her own hobbies, her own life, but she always made room for us. I trusted her completely. I never once, not one single time in 5 years, doubted that she loved me. I was an idiot. The discovery. 3 days ago, my wife was in the shower when her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. I wasn't snooping. I swear to God, I wasn't. I was just grabbing a glass of water. But the notification caught my eye because it was from Instagram, and my wife doesn't use Instagram. Or so she told me. The preview showed a message from someone I didn't recognize. OMG, dying at your last post, face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy. Her phone was face up. The screen was unlocked. I know I shouldn't have looked. I know that violates her privacy. But something in my gut twisted, and before I could stop myself, I was opening the app. The account wasn't her main account. It wasn't even under her name. It was a private account with a different username, a different bio, and 847 followers. The profile picture was her, though, a selfie I'd never seen, where she's making a face I've never seen her make. Playful. Mocking. Real. I started scrolling. And then I started dying. 5 years. 5 years of laughing at my jokes while texting her friends about how boring I am. 5 years of "I love you" that meant "I love your paycheck." The posts went back to before we were even married. Before we were engaged. Before I thought we were something special. And every single one of them was a lie written in public, shared with hundreds of people who knew the truth about my marriage before I did. I'll share some of what I found. I need to. I need someone to see what I saw. From 3 years ago, right after I proposed, he finally did it. Ring money bag. 3 years of pretending to care about his stupid video games and boring job stories paid off. This ring is nice. Someone check on me because I deserve an Oscar for this performance. LMAO. Comments: Queen shit crown. You're literally insane, but I love you. That man has no idea. Skull. From 2 years ago, after our wedding, officially locked in. Retirement plan. Secured. Now I just have to keep this up until he's making real money, and then I either upgrade or cash out. Face with tears of joy. She called me her retirement plan. Our marriage was her financial strategy. From 18 months ago, he actually thinks I care about his promotion. I've been nodding and smiling for 20 minutes while he talks about spreadsheets. Someone give me a medal. Or better yet, give me access to his 401k. From 1 year ago, after I surprised her with a weekend trip, he planned this whole romantic getaway, and I literally had to fake being excited for 72 hours straight. The resort was nice, but he kept wanting to talk and connect, and I was like, "Sir, I am trying to nap by the pool, not hear about your childhood." Skull. From 6 months ago, ATM just got a bonus and didn't tell me the amount. Men really think they're slick. Already found the deposit on the banking app. Time to start dropping hints about that bag. I want smirking face. She called me the ATM in that post. Her friends replied with laughing emojis. 47 likes. 47 people knew the truth about my marriage before I did. I stood in that kitchen for I don't know how long. 20 minutes. 30. The shower was still running. My wife, the woman I loved, the woman I trusted, the woman I built a life with, was upstairs, probably thinking about what she'd post next. I screenshotted everything. Every single post. Every comment. Every reply she made. I created a folder on my phone. Then I deleted the evidence that I'd been on her Instagram, put her phone back exactly where it was, and went into the garage. I sat in my car and cried like I haven't cried since my grandfather died. The woman I married doesn't exist. She was a character my wife played to get what she wanted. I fell in love with fiction. Update 1. The days after, playing along. It's been 5 days now since I found the account. I haven't said a word to her. I've smiled at her over breakfast. I've kissed her goodbye when I leave for work. I've asked about her day. I've been the devoted husband I've always been. The difference is that now I'm watching. And now I see everything. I watched her smile at me over dinner, knowing she'd posted about how pathetic I was that same morning. I smiled back. I was learning to perform too. It's a strange thing, continuing to live with someone who you now know has been lying to you every day for half a decade. Everything she does is filtered through this new understanding. When she laughs at something I say, I hear the post from 2 years ago. His jokes are so bad but I have to pretend they're funny or he gets all sad and mopey face with rolling eyes. When she asks about my work, I remember, I genuinely don't care about anything he does. I just need him to keep making money. When she curls up against me on the couch, I think about the post where she described our physical relationship as a chore, but a necessary one. I felt sick that night. I haven't touched her since. She noticed. Of course she did. Are you okay? She asked 2 days ago, tilting her head with that concerned expression I used to find so caring. You've seemed distant. Just stressed about work, I said. Big project coming up. She nodded sympathetically. You work so hard. I'm so proud of you. I smiled. She smiled. 2 liars performing for each other, except she didn't know we were both acting now. I've been reading more of the account. I can't help it. It's like picking at a wound, painful, but I can't stop. There's 5 years of material there. 5 years of detailed documentation of exactly how little she thought of me. How little she respected me. How completely I was fooled. Some of it is almost funny in a horrifying way. She has a whole series of posts about things I do that annoy her, things I had no idea bothered her, because she never told me. Never once said, "Hey, I don't like when you do that." Just smiled, nodded, and then mocked me online. She hates that I hum when I cook. She thinks the way I laugh is dorky. She finds my friendships with my gaming buddies embarrassing. She thinks my hobby of collecting vinyl records is such a waste of money, but whatever, it's his money to waste. For now, nail polish. The "for now" part appears a lot. She was always planning to take what was mine. That was never ambiguous. She talked about it openly with her friends, how much she'd get in a divorce, how long she should wait to maximize the payout, whether she should push for me to buy a house first so she could claim half. One post from 8 months ago stands out, thinking about how much I'll get when I eventually leave. Should I wait until he makes partner? My friend's divorce lawyer says California is a 50-50 state, but there's ways to get more if you play it right. Research time nerd face. She was researching divorce settlements. While married to me. While lying next to me in bed. While telling me she loved me. Update 2. Getting my affairs in order. I talked to a lawyer. A good one. A friend of a friend recommended her, someone who specializes in divorces where one party has been, let's call it, financially targeted. I showed her some of the screenshots. Not all of them, there are too many, but enough to paint the picture. She was professional about it, but I saw her eyebrows rise a few times. I think even she was impressed by the scope of the deception. Here's what she told me. First, in our state, evidence of bad intent doesn't change the financial math much in terms of asset division. That hurt to hear. My wife could have been planning to rob me blind from day one, and the courts mostly don't care as long as she didn't actually do anything illegal. But, and this is important, there are things I can do to protect myself. Things I should have been doing all along, but didn't, because I trusted my wife. I'm not going to detail all of them here for obvious reasons. But I've started moving certain assets. I've documented what I came into the marriage with versus what we built together. I've secured important documents. I've made sure that when this goes down, I'm not blindsided twice. My lawyer also suggested something I hadn't considered, that I should keep monitoring the account. If my wife posts about the divorce proceedings, or discusses strategy with her friends online, that could actually be useful. Especially if she says anything about hiding assets or planning to make false accusations. So I'm still watching. Still screenshotting. Still building my case. It's exhausting. Living with someone you're actively protecting yourself from. Smiling across the table at someone who sees you as a paycheck with a pulse. Going through the motions of a marriage that was never real. But I only have to do this a little longer. Update 3. The mask slips, both ways. Something happened last night that I need to write about. My wife had her friends over for dinner. 3 of them, women I've met many times, women I considered friends by extension. Women I now know have been reading about my humiliation for years and laughing. I was supposed to be out. I had told her I was working late, because I needed space and because frankly, the idea of being around her friends made me feel physically ill. But I came home early. I parked down the street and walked up through the backyard. I don't know what I was planning. Maybe I just wanted to see her when she didn't know I was watching. I stood outside the kitchen window. I know how that sounds. I know it's not normal behavior. But nothing about this situation is normal. And I heard them talking about me. He's so clueless, one friend said. Like, genuinely. I don't know how you do it. My wife laughed. Her real laugh, the one she uses on her Instagram videos. Different from the laugh she uses with me. It's honestly not even hard anymore. He believes everything. I told him I was going to a yoga retreat last month and he didn't even question it. I remembered that retreat. I'd missed her. I'd texted her every night. She'd replied with heart emojis and said she wished I was there. Where did you actually go? Another friend asked. Just stayed at the spa downtown. Needed a break from him. You know how exhausting it is to be on all the time. They laughed. All of them. About how exhausting it is to pretend to love me. I stood outside my own house, in my own backyard, listening to my wife describe our marriage as a performance she was tired of giving. And the worst part? She didn't sound guilty. She didn't sound conflicted. She sounded annoyed. Like I was an inconvenience. An obstacle between her and the life she actually wanted. I went back to my car. I sat there until I saw her friends leave. Then I came home, smiled at my wife, and told her about my long day at work. You work too hard, she said, rubbing my shoulders. But that's why you're so successful. I'm so lucky. I used to love it when she said that. I used to feel proud. Now I just feel used. Update 4. Her family doesn't know her either. This is where things get complicated. And this is where I need to confess something I did that I'm not entirely proud of. I kept reading her Instagram. Every post. Every story. Every comment. And I started noticing something. She doesn't just mock me. She mocks everyone. Her parents came up a lot. Her dad is a retired factory worker. Her mom works part-time at a grocery store. They're not wealthy, solidly working class, salt-of-the-earth people. I always liked them. They welcomed me into their family with open arms. Her mom cried at our wedding. According to my wife's Instagram, she finds them embarrassing. Posts from over the years. My mom keeps buying me stuff from Dollar Tree like I'm going to use that cheap shit skull, bless her heart, but read the room. Had to go to my parents' house for dinner. Their neighborhood is so depressing. Can't wait until I can move them into something that doesn't make me cringe. My dad tried to give me advice about my marriage today. So you've been broke your whole life, maybe sit this one out. Family reunion this weekend. Time to pretend I'm not mortified by these people performing arts. She wrote these things about the people who raised her, who sacrificed for her, who clearly love her unconditionally. And she mocked them to hundreds of followers. For likes. For laughing emojis. I didn't set out to expose her to them. I didn't have a plan. But 2 weeks ago, her mother called me directly. This isn't unusual. She does it sometimes, just to chat, just to see how I'm doing. She's a sweet woman. Is everything okay with you too? She asked. She seems different lately. Distracted. I don't know what came over me. Maybe I was tired. Maybe I was angry. Maybe I just needed one person to know the truth. But I said, "Can I show you something? It's going to be hard to see." I drove to their house that afternoon. I sat at their kitchen table, the same table where we'd shared Sunday dinners for years. And I showed them the Instagram account. I watched her mother's face as she read the posts. I watched her father's jaw tighten. I watched two people who loved their daughter realize that their daughter was ashamed of them. Her mother cried. Her father left the room and didn't come back for 20 minutes. When he returned, he looked at me with an expression I'll never forget. Not anger at me, anger for me. And for himself. And for his wife. "I'm sorry," he said. "We raised her better than this. Or we thought we did." I told them I was filing for divorce. They didn't argue. Her mother just nodded and said, "We understand." I think they're still processing it. I think it'll take them a long time to understand who their daughter really is. But at least they know now. At least they're not being fooled anymore either. Update 5. The end. I served her the divorce papers yesterday. I'd planned it carefully. Not out of cruelty, out of necessity. I needed her to understand that this wasn't a negotiation. This wasn't a "let's talk about it" situation. This was over. I chose a Sunday morning. She was making breakfast. Her special pancakes, which she once posted, are the only thing keeping this man happy because they're literally just box mix, but he acts like I'm a chef face with rolling eyes. I walked into the kitchen with the envelope. I set it on the counter beside her. "What's this?" she asked, not looking up from the stove. "Divorce papers." She laughed. Actually laughed. "Very funny. What is it really?" "Divorce papers. You should probably look at them." She turned around. She saw my face. And I watched, in real time, as she realized I wasn't joking. What are you talking about?" Her voice changed. Softer. Concerned. The performance starting up again, automatic as breathing. "Baby, what's wrong? Did something happen?" "You happened," I said. "All 5 years of you happened. Every lie. Every post. Every performance." Her face went white. Really, genuinely white. I've never seen blood drain from someone's face like that in real life. What are you?" "I found your Instagram. Your real one. The one where I'm the ATM. The one where our marriage is your retirement plan. The one where you've been mocking me to hundreds of people for half a decade." She didn't speak. She just stared at me. And for the first time in 5 years, I think I was seeing something real. Fear. Pure, genuine fear. Then she started crying. She cried when I served the papers. Real tears, I think. But I don't trust anything about her anymore. Maybe she was just crying because the plan failed. "Please," she said. "Please, you don't understand. It's not, I didn't mean, those are just jokes. I was just venting. I love you. I really do love you." "Do you?" I asked. "Because you wrote in detail that you don't. Many times. To many people. For many years. That's not who I really am. That account, it's a persona. It's not real." I almost laughed. "So the persona you showed the world was the fake one, and the persona you showed me was the real one? Is that what you're saying?" She hesitated. Just for a second. But it was enough. "I don't know which one of you is real," I said. "And honestly, I don't care anymore. Because either way, I was never real to you. I was never a person. I was a plan." She tried everything after that. She tried anger. "You had no right to go through my phone." She tried bargaining. "We can go to therapy. I can change." She tried manipulation. "If you leave me, I'll have nothing." But it was too late. The mask had slipped, and neither of us could pretend anymore. Aftermath. The divorce is proceeding. My lawyer is handling most of it. My wife, my soon-to-be ex-wife, hired her own attorney and tried to claim she was entitled to half of everything, just like she always planned. But here's the thing. She didn't know I'd protected myself. She didn't know I'd been documenting everything. She didn't know I'd been 3 steps ahead of her for weeks. She also didn't know about her parents. She found out when her mother called her. I wasn't there for that conversation, but I heard about it later. Apparently, her mother told her that she knew about the Instagram. That she'd read what her daughter wrote about her. About her father. About their home, their jobs, their lives. My wife tried to explain. Tried to say it was all jokes. But her mother, that sweet woman who cried at our wedding, just said, "I don't know who you are. But you're not my daughter." From what I understand, her father hasn't spoken to her since. Her friends, the ones who laughed along, who called her queen, who celebrated her manipulation, most of them have distanced themselves too. Turns out it's less fun to be associated with someone when their cruelty is public. When their victims know. When there are consequences. She's alone now. I know I should feel satisfied about that. Maybe I do, a little. But mostly I just feel hollow. Final thoughts. It's been 2 months since I found that Instagram account. The divorce is almost finalized. I'm moving into my own apartment next week. I have my assets protected, my documentation in order, my life reorganized around the absence of someone who was never really there. People keep asking me how I'm doing. My family, my friends, my therapist, yes, I started seeing one. And I never know what to say. How do you explain what it feels like to realize that the best relationship of your life was a performance? That the person who knew you best was studying you, not loving you? That every memory you cherished was just her clocking in for another shift? I think about specific moments. Our first dance at the wedding. The time she surprised me for my birthday. The night she held me when my grandfather died. Were any of those real? Was she feeling anything, or just going through the motions? I'll never know. That's the hardest part. I'll never know what, if anything, was genuine. The other day, I was at the grocery store, and I saw a couple in the produce section. They were laughing about something. The woman touched the man's arm, and he smiled at her like she'd hung the moon. I had to leave. I couldn't breathe. Not because I want what they have, but because I'll never be able to see it the same way again. I'll always wonder if she's laughing with him or at him. If she's touching his arm because she loves him or because she's working an angle. My therapist says this is trauma. That it makes sense I'm struggling to trust. That it will get better with time. Maybe she's right. Maybe someday I'll meet someone, and I'll be able to believe them when they say they love me. Maybe I'll learn to stop looking for hidden accounts, for secret lives, for the person behind the performance. But not today. Today, I'm just trying to get through it. I don't know if I'll ever trust anyone again. She didn't just end our marriage. She made me question every relationship I've ever had. I keep thinking about something my dad told me when I finally told him what happened. He listened to the whole story. He looked at the screenshots. And then he said, "Son, I'm sorry this happened to you. But you need to know, what she did says everything about her and nothing about you. You loved her honestly. That wasn't a mistake. That's who you are." I wanted to believe him. I still want to believe him. But some nights, I lie awake wondering, was I really just that easy to fool? Was I so desperate to be loved that I couldn't see I wasn't? Are there other people in my life who see me the way she did, as a mark, as a sucker, as someone who's useful but not valuable? I don't have answers. I'm not sure I ever will. All I know is this: the woman I married doesn't exist. She never did. I fell in love with a character, and the actress who played her is a stranger. I'll survive this. I know I will. But I won't be the same person who walked into that marriage 5 years ago, heart open, ready to trust. Maybe that's not entirely a bad thing. Maybe I needed to learn that love requires more than just faith. That trust needs to be earned, not given freely. That some people are very, very good at pretending. But God, I wish I'd learned it any other way. Edit. Thank you all for the support. I didn't expect this many responses. To answer some common questions, no, I won't be identifying her or the account. This is about moving forward, not revenge. And yes, I'm in therapy. I'm taking care of myself. To everyone who shared similar stories, I'm sorry. I know how much it hurts. I know how hard it is to rebuild when your foundation was a lie. But we're still here. We survived. That has to count for something. Take care of yourselves. And maybe, once in a while, trust someone anyway. Not everyone is performing. Some people are real. I have to believe that. I have to. Here's what I learned about love. Sometimes the person you trust most is the one performing hardest. 5 years. 5 years of laughing at my jokes while texting her friends about how boring I am. 5 years of "I love you" that meant "I love your paycheck." I found her secret Instagram by accident. 847 followers. 5 years of posts. Every single one was a lie written in public. She called me the ATM. Her friends replied with laughing emojis. 47 likes. 47 people knew the truth about my marriage before I did. She called our marriage her retirement plan. She was researching divorce settlements while lying next to me in bed. While telling me she loved me. I watched her smile at me over dinner, knowing she'd posted about how pathetic I was that same morning. I smiled back. I was learning to perform too. The woman I married doesn't exist. She was a character my wife played to get what she wanted. I fell in love with fiction. I didn't confront her. I documented everything. I talked to a lawyer. I protected my assets. And then I showed her parents what she wrote about them, how she called them embarrassing, how she mocked their home, their jobs, their lives. Her mother said, "I don't know who you are. But you're not my daughter." She cried when I served the papers. Real tears, I think. But I don't trust anything about her anymore. Maybe she was just crying because the plan failed. She lost everything. Her husband. Her parents. Her friends who laughed along. But I lost something too. I don't know if I'll ever trust anyone again. She didn't just end our marriage. She made me question every relationship I've ever had. My dad told me, "What she did says everything about her and nothing about you. You loved her honestly. That wasn't a mistake. That's who you are." I want to believe him. I'm still trying. Not everyone is performing. Some people are real. I have to believe that. I have to.